Has anybody ever called you Spock, that you just take all the emotion out of everything? You're so logical. Are you a logic mastermind? Well, that might be your inner critic. If you are having a problem really understanding what emotion is all about, you just don't want to get emotional. You actually look at people who are emotional and go, I don't get it. That is when you're focusing on just the logical part of your mind. And that inner critic can get in the way of relationships. It's also a problem with dealing with really being more deeply connected to people as well as yourself. And you might feel disconnected. That's a problem. I want you feeling that you are connected, that you can have emotions. Isn't that what friendship is all about? Isn't that in work, making mistakes so you can learn, not just looking at people who get emotional and going, oh my gosh, I can't handle that. It's important because we are all emotional beings, and emotions play a major role in our life. And one of the best emotions is joy and happiness. If you're logical, you're going to have a hard time ever connecting to joy in your life. So it's important that we identify this inner critic and realize that it's lying to you. Life is not all about the numbers and the logic. Life is about the joy and the wonder. And I want you to experience that in life. I don't want you to constantly be looking at, when you go into a meeting, you're like, oh, when that person gets a little emotional and also gets a little agitated and raises their voice and becomes passionate. Don't look at that as negative. That's a positive thing. Yeah, we do want to be able to communicate effectively, but when you're looking at other people and judging them because they are emotional, you're disconnecting from something that's important to you, and you're not making deposits in their emotional bank account or yours. If anything, you're making withdrawals. So part of what we want to do is to start focusing on, when you have this inner critic, is to first point them out. Don't try to squash him. You want to really make sure that this inner critic is just exposed. He doesn't serve you anymore. There may have been a time in your life where it was really important for you to be logical, that emotions got in the way. And it could have been from parents who were very emotional, and you realized, this doesn't serve me. I can't function that way. So I'm going to stick with being logical. Well, in life, that isn't the best way to handle things. I had parents who were very emotional also. I don't have that inner critic, the logic mastermind, but I can understand it. And for me, I focus on other I've had other inner critics that I've developed that identity, especially my the harmony enthusiast. And I'm also somebody who tends to please at the expense of myself and says yes. So I want you to think about that. This doesn't serve you. These inner critics that I've been sharing with you, it's not a matter of, well, I don't relate to that. It's a matter of saying, well, which ones do you relate to? Which ones resonate with you, and which ones are holding you back? Holding you back because what are you doing? You're listening to the lies that they're sharing with you. They're whispering in your ear, and you're thinking those lies are true. And that's keeping you stuck. What we want to do is expose that inner critic. Be aware that first week of just when that inner critic is allowed in your ear. What triggers it? Is it certain people? Is it certain situations? Is it at work? Is it at home? And then just listen to what it's saying and expose it, saying, hey, you can laugh at it and say, hey, you don't serve me anymore. It's okay. I might have needed you when I was younger, but right now, you might influence me, but you're not relevant to the choices I'm making today. And I want to figure out how to move forward. And the way to do that is to make deposits in your own health accounts, your physical, your mental, your emotional, spiritual, as well as others. And when you start focusing on that, suddenly the power is taken away from that inner critic. And that is a magical thing. That's a wonderful thing. And suddenly you're free. You're no longer trapped. And that allows you to choose differently. Isn't that what this is all about? The power to choose differently so that you can live the life you've always dreamed of. If you want to learn more about these inner critics, check my guides out in my Facebook group, which you're in, or you're on LinkedIn Live, where you can join my Facebook group, which is Optimized Health for Leaders, Living the B3 Way. I'm looking forward to learning more about you by sharing, hey, is this your inner critic? Comment, please, let me know. And if not, maybe it was one of the other inner critics. But next week we have a couple more weeks of this, because there's a lot of inner critics living up here. There's a lot of head trash that we have to take out. Take out the garbage. Okay, let's take it out and let's start focusing on what do we need to do to actually start thinking in a healthy way. Go make it a great week.